So you've got a really impressive kind of career journey, which spans quite a few different things. Would you be happy to kind of whistle stop through us to the point where you kind of started your own business? Is that cool?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So it's interesting you put it that way because I do kind of consider my career to have gone in phases. So first job was Northumbrian Water Group, which was kind of an apprenticeship, but it wasn't called an apprenticeship at the time. I think it was during that period when apprenticeships weren't really kind of the done thing. So it looked and sounded a lot like an apprenticeship, but without having that title. So that again allowed me to sort of continue my education as well. So I went into sort of do other qualifications while I was doing that job, and I got into their PR department as a kind of a try this out, see what you think of it, see what they think of you, and I didn't leave it for 5 years. So I loved that. I had a great grounding there, brilliant, experienced, talented people I was working with, and exposed at a very early junior level to the highest levels of management and leadership in the business as well. And that I just thought, if I've been given this opportunity, I'm just going to soak that up. I'm just going to take on board as much as I possibly can from that opportunity. So first few years in PR with Northumbrian Water, then I went to a public relations agency in Newcastle, which was a big agency at the time, which was again just another 5 years of great experience, total sort of variation. That was great. And then back in-house when I moved out to East Midlands with Transco, which was then the gas emergency service for the UK. And then when I moved back to the Northeast, it was started to get more into sort of the next phase, if you like, which was more kind of public affairs and stakeholder type stuff. So that was with Newcastle Building Society, and then ultimately with a company called Alcan. I was their corporate affairs director for the UK, so all their plants across the UK. It was basically my job to try and shape legislation to keep these places open. So lobbying at the highest levels of the British government, highest levels of the European Commission, European Parliament, all of that. And I remember when I got the job at Alcan, I started in January 2002. At the end of 2001, a friend of mine said, well, they're going to close next year. And I said, well, that's kind of my job, to try and make sure they don't. And we got about another, 12 years out of that before eventually the parent company at the time decided, enough, we're going to close in the UK. So I unfortunately ended up being made redundant, along with many hundreds of other really brilliant people at all levels across that business in the UK. And I thought, well, I need something to pay the mortgage, so I'll do a bit of consultancy work for 12 months, and then I'll get another proper job. And
you never
consultancy
stopped.
work became a business, and then it went from kind of step to step. Sort of started to think, well, I can't do this all myself. I need to hire people. So we started to sort of build a team. The business grew and grew, diversified into doing one or two slightly different things to expand the offering to clients. So that business lasted about 9.5 years before I got the chamber job. So what I thought was going to be 12 months of just ticking over to pay the mortgage became, a business for 12.5 years before the chamber job came up.
Because I always find it fascinating that you have, I think the most recent stats, it's above 50% of people now would consider starting their own business. And I'm always interested that I almost was similar how I started, was that I had lots of paid jobs.
Yeah.
And then I was offered another job, but it didn't feel right. And almost, so I started to just do consultancy and kind of roll off. But I think, did you ever want to, or was it just circumstantial and it just happened to work out? Or did you have a fire inside you that you kind of wanted to do your own thing a few years in advance?
No, Steve, honestly, I didn't. I had no aspiration or desire to run my own business at all. I loved the security of being in a big business. So I'd gone from, I'd worked for some big business employing lots of people, and the security of that. And then ironically, of course, I ended up facing the opposite end of that when I lost my job, along with all the other people when those sites in the UK were closed through Alcan. So that security was just kind of switched off overnight. So I always had massive admiration and respect for people who did run their own business, but never thought that was for me. So it was out of necessity. It was never kind of the plan. I never had a career plan, but that wouldn't have been in it.